And we're
Hi, it's
back for the next episode review of Rurouni Kenshin, episode 3. The title of it is, I know it's here somewhere. Kashin Ryu Reborn. We're picking up off the last episode where we ended with Yahiko himself. Oh, well, I'm also here with my co-host Spirit Magic Helmet, as
hi.
always.
The problem?
Okay, we're picking up back at the we're
Did you bang something
banging the table here.
with your head or what?
No, I don't even think I could actually bang my head on a table audible enough for that to be picked up with a microphone. But then again, the vibration probably would go up the boom arms, so maybe you could hear it. I don't know.
You know better than me about vibrations. I'm married.
But wouldn't that mean you know more about vibrations than I?
I'm just saying that I'm married.
My eyes are closed for the audience, just as I'm pointing at the screen with my hand, open hand, upside down. Just pointing at the screen with my eyes closed. I don't know what this is, but just letting people know this is happening right now. Don't know why it's happening, but it's happening. And it's continuing to. It hasn't stopped. My eyes are still closed. Okay.
It's called being friends with me. It's more of a curse than anything.
That's what BFRZU does, is that pose. You know what? Okay, stop now.
Are you gonna introduce the title of the episode or not?
I did. I'll introduce it again. The title of the episode is, I can get to it again, Kashin Ryu Reborn.
I made you do it twice.
What?
I made you do it twice.
I think you maybe do it 3 times. Maybe. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we pick over Yahiko being beat up by the Yakuza. I like how you spelled that Yazuka.
Is that not how to spell it?
I thought it was a Yakuza, not the Yazuka.
Yakuza, isn't that how I spell it? No, I didn't.
No, leave it there. It's gotta be. We gotta leave that for posterity. When we release these notes later on.
I'll put it back.
I don't care. You can write. If you want to correct it, you can correct it. Just we never release these notes, by the way. We never do. We probably should at some point.
These terms I've never heard of before that I'm trying to keep up with.
You can change it. Change it for you.
It's all right if it means a lot to you.
Oh,
I did it more than once.
I just noticed that.
Here, do this.
Editing on the go with Spirit Magic Helmet.
Find and replace all. There you go. They're all fixed now. It's all Yakuza now instead of Yazuka.
Back to the episode. The Yahiko is being beat up by the gang. Well, continues to be beat up by the gang that he was pickpocketing for. They end up dragging them back to their hideout with the day almost over. Koru happens to notice that he's being carried away, which I thought she was going to chase after them, but I'm guessing she wanted Kenshin to do it, considering Kenshin's the one that ends up showing up in the first place.
I mean, he is their superhero out of the group. But I was surprised too. I thought she was going to run out and stop them because, like, if she didn't go stop them, like, there was no promise that Kenshin was going to be able to find them. You know what I mean? She has a lot of faith in him as the person that's going to save the world here. So I was a little disappointed, honestly. I thought her character would be the type to actually jump out and do it.
I feel like I know something. I'm not gonna really say it. A lot of people probably already know this from, like, that's why I was kind of shocked by her decision here, but oh well, whatever. I mean, she did something cool later on in the episode, but I just thought she was going to do something there. 'Cause I feel like she could have handled those guys, if I'm being honest.
You don't think she could handle those guys?
No, I think she could have handled them, to be really
it would have
honest.
been close, but I felt like she could too. You know, there was that first guy, the one that is a gang leader. You know what I mean? Maybe he's tough. I'm not sure. but I felt like otherwise the other guy. Was there one other guy or two
You talking about the gang, or you?
with the gang? Yeah,
I mean, they were all
I mean,
there. Oh, I mean, there were. I think there was just two.
she
One who
saw
wasn't
them.
doing anything, and then the one with the actual sword was carrying Yahiko.
Yeah, she could probably take two guys. We see her take two later, even though one of them's not like boss tier.
I guess. I guess she'll get more moments to shine later. I'm guessing maybe this wasn't just. It wasn't a moment written for her to shine in a I guess in this situation. Also, I guess we also see more in this world how they treat women, because later on we see her taking on the burden that her former students put on the dojo, and the guy was licking his lips, but that's for a later discussion later on. But we see at least I mean, based on where the time period is, where Japan is, yeah, it makes sense that this is probably how women are treated. I keep
If we're
forgetting
being
that's where we are.
if we're being completely fair, it's kind of a trope now, isn't it? To treat women that way.
No, I
In the
think
setting.
future animes don't do that. If they ever do it, it's either for a one-time joke where that woman just flips the guy on his backside and she just walks away, or for time period's sake. They're trying to be historically accurate. I mean,
Yeah,
regardless, it sucks to be female anywhere in the world, and it definitely sucks to be female in Japan. But I mean, yeah, yeah.
a lot of. I mean, it fit in with their description of the wives of samurais, like that they get to a little bit later, going into prostitution to make ends meet, no pun intended. But I don't know. I feel like women get pretty shafted in anime in general, except
I
in
think you treat
very,
it
very.
better later on. I mean, yeah, they still don't get they don't get the respect that male characters get. That's for sure. But I think they get treated better later in anime. I think the situation here with her though is just that it's the time period that she's in. Actually,
Yeah.
that, I mean,
Okay.
we also think about like badly treated like Chi Chi, Bulma, but those characters really aren't fighters. Well, Chi Chi was, but
From a narrative standpoint, though, Chi Chi loses to anything unless they're afraid of her to begin with, and Chi Chi's the one that grew up like as a warrior. I don't feel like they're being wildly fair to women in as a general standing.
yeah, it depends where the show is and what they're trying to. I guess they're trying to do or show. Um, Pretty much, we see Yako is being dragged away back to the gang's hangout with their boss. Um, Speaking of tropes, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you might be able to fill this in. I know that there's a trope of ugly bosses, or just men in general who are ugly, who are like the leaders of really dangerous gangs.
Uh-huh.
I feel there's a trope there. I mean, even if it isn't, like I feel there should there if there isn't one, there is one, or there should be one.
How you gonna know he's ugly unless how you gonna know he's the boss unless he's the ugliest one there?
Well, I mean but there's still like ugly gang members. There's still ugly gang members. I mean, well, you
I'm
said the
just
ugliest one there, but still, I didn't.
I'm
But
just being obnoxious. It
I
just
know you. I know you are. It just really,
they
like, I mean, it's like, okay, this guy, he definitely is not pleasant to look at. He's also constantly eating while these other guys who are way more fit, who are probably more dangerous than he is, while they're like, kowtowing to him, because I guess he saved them from something. Um, it's kind of interesting how he was talking to Yahiko, talking about how do you expect to live and stuff like that, and then we find out a little bit more about Yahiko's like background, with his family specifically. His father was a samurai who apparently betrayed. I guess he betrayed his house for the Imperials, and later on, uh, uh regretted it, and essentially, I guess, drunk himself to death or something like that. I forget exactly what the details were, but he definitely died later on. Uh, um, After doing what he did there, and his mother, as Doc already, you know, pleasantly put out, is in order to take care of him, his mother went into prostitution. At
Do
least
we know for
hmm?
sure?
Hmm?
Do we know that that's exact? Do we know for sure that that's what she did? I know
Well,
that he claimed
red
it, but I
light
was
district in this time period would pretty much mean prostitution.
no. I mean, I know that the guy was accusing it, but was it really what was happening, or was he just trying to get a rise out of him? Because he said my mother died nobly, which made me wonder if it's really the situation, or if like, or if they were just trying to like get him.
I don't think
Oh.
here's my thought process on it. I think it's possible, and I guess it's not really prostitution because I know that the red light district specifically during that time period, they had a name, and I forgot the name, and these are the women that yes and no, they were doing sexual favors for really high up there uh is I guess they would be what would be considered to us hookers in a I guess in a really nice way to put it, which by the way that's a nice way to put it. I I can't think but these were women that were fancied, and a lot of times they were single, and usually they get married into they get married. A man will come in for a lot of money. They fancy one of the women, they take them out of the district. I think that's where she went because they say red light district. I know what you're talking about is like maybe there's something. There's mostly probably more to that story, and we'll probably learn a little bit more considering that all we really are getting is like surface level information. Uh,
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't. I was questioning the reliability of the person speaking. That he. It sounded like his story about his father wasn't 100% accurate because he brings up his own version of it and says my father did this. You know what I mean? And this is how he
I
died.
mean, I look at it like this too. I mean, Yakuza was a little kid, and when this all this happened, it sounded like Yakuza might have been like, I'm not sure how old he is even, like right there. Hold up, so I
Yeah.
can't look this information up actually really quick just without seeing anything unnecessary. I need to know like how old he is when this is happening. Crap, where is his age?
Plus, there's still a good amount we don't know. We
Okay,
don't
so
know
he's 10
why.
years old right now in the series.
Yeah. We also don't know why he has debt. You know what I mean? There's still some unanswered questions about the whole story going
Well,
on
I mean,
here.
I mean, if we take I'm pretty sure there's stuff there's stuff, you know, in that story that he told that was right. I mean, Yagako took it really hard. Normally, if it was a lie, even if it was a lie, I don't think a kid would like beat on him that hard or even try defending him. Because he
He
sounds like this
responded by
kid
biting him.
needs to
He
defend his
responded by
parents.
biting the guy in the dick.
I don't know if that's what happening. I'm gonna probably go into like so that maybe that's what happened,
Look
but
before 30. He goes forward. He bites his mouth down. The guy falls down holding his crotch. Go see for yourself. He bit the guy in the dick. There's no other way to see it. I watched it 4 times because I knew you were going to disagree.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I don't want to really think about that scene because I know he's at the level that he would be biting his penis.
I watched.
But they're still wearing clothing. It'd be really hard for him to go for that.
It's but what else would he could he possibly been doing there?
See, you say samurai, but your dad only had 30 koku and fed only 2 people. Oh, koku's money. Okay, I was like wondering what the heck that was about. Vassal,
He's
he
a
stood against the
he's a
Imperial
Koku
army
dealer.
early in he got slaughtered. Oh, he died in an Imperial war. Okay.
He's a koku dealer.
And his mother died apparently of an illness, whatever that was.
Probably herpes. Raging case of herpes.
I was hoping you didn't say herpes. I literally had to sit there and like pause the video real quick just to hear what you was talking about. These I reached a hurt like no, why?
He died of a herpes. It was a herpes related death.
Huh. Wait a minute. It looked like he bit his leg, but wait a minute.
No, look.
No, his leg was kind of lifted up, so I guess he could. But I don't want to. They probably would never like draw a dangling bit there. There's definitely some skin there, so I guess that's when the camera focuses on that piece of skin. Okay. Ugh.
Right?
And he's grabbing his penis. Never mind.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, I mean, he didn't bite his penis. I think he bit his ball sack, which is still painful regardless, but still. Wait a minute. Okay, no, Yayako is like. Wait a minute. What's Yayako saying about this? Yayako does say something about all this. That's we're already here. Father felt disdain for going with the flow and betraying the shogunate by siding with the imperial. So basically, that story is right. You know, he betrayed the shogunate and died in the war.
He betrayed him, but like
that's why he joined the shogunate.
Like his father had no honor whatsoever. But then when you see his version, like there was definitely some redemption going on.
I mean, not that what he's saying. I'm not trying to discount what everything that's been said here. I think really this is how they view it. I mean, the people in this world already have the ban on swords. So I'm pretty sure samurai aren't really looked at like looked at highly anymore as it is. I mean, and he said apparently that ugly guy said that, you know, some of the people he employed were samurai that fell from honor anyway.
Yeah, but he's trying to manipulate him into believing that there's no hope for him. And when you hear the real story, it sounds like maybe there's a little bit more hope.
She'll get tied, real or no? It's trying to. It's possible these guys don't exist. Wait, what? Oh.
What?
That's strange. Okay, apparently Yaiko's father joined in an elite samurai shock infantry. And then made a righteous sacrifice there. So I guess when he joined the Shogetai is when he died. These people existed, apparently. They were an elite samurai shock infantry formation.
Yeah.
Oh,
really? They did really exist?
Yeah, I mean, I looked them up. Shogetai. They existed.
I wonder if I misspelled it when I looked it up then, because I didn't see it as really existing. You're talking about the Hishimanji Gurin gang, right?
No, we're not there yet.
Oh. Which gang are you talking about that really existed?
It's not really a gang. It's the group of samurai that Yaiko's father joined. You know, when he was talking about his father, and before he sacrificed himself.
Yes, they really existed.
Mother withered her life away, working to raise me, and fell to illness. Now, this could be interpreted different ways. This can really be interpreted, and maybe Yahiko didn't know what she actually did, because a lot of times parents don't let their kids know what they were doing. Even the mothers, for instance. I mean, if they were involved in that kind of thing, they wouldn't let their children know what they were doing. Anyway, so Yahiko saying that, you know, she went out noble might be a child's way of just trying to remain ignorant of what she was doing. Now, I'm not saying she was, selling her body. Or she
could not have been doing it. You know what I mean? It's really hard to be sure.
Well, what did she do to fall ill? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that. Well, I'm not. Before gets mad at me for saying that. I'm not saying there's nothing in the world that can't get you ill. I'm just saying it sounds like whatever happened to her, like, really hit her hard with an illness. And I honestly, like, there's very few things women can do, I feel like, during this time period. at least that they'd be allowed to do, that would get her sick. Because again, in this time period, women weren't exactly allowed to do a lot. They were mostly, maids or whatever, you doing housework and stuff like that. And I don't think dusting a house could get you. Well, I mean, who knows? If you have an allergy, that's that bad. But like,
Really?
I mean, it may be dramatic, but still, I'm just saying that you're trying to find a way.
Yeah.
I mean, he said she willed her life away working. So I mean, it sounded like she was doing something very, like, really taxing her body.
Well, she could have been working hard. I don't know. There's like a lot of things that she could have been doing, that working in a factory, perhaps,
What is a noble life, actually? What does noble mean in this situation?
I'm sure it's the closest word they had from Japanese translation. I think they mean honorable.
Having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles, ideals. In former times, a person, no, right now, that's not what I need. Okay, whatever.
I think it means just plain up honorable. She lived an honorable life.
I mean, they had pride. I mean, who's to say she didn't have pride doing, like, she was a, what is that? What were they? Not courtesan. What the heck is it? This is bothering me because I knew the name a long, long time ago. Red Light District, so yeah, I already knew that, but I was looking for is the freaking what's the name of the job?
A hanky panky practitioner.
Christ, no,
Oh, okay, sorry.
no, you're just trying to be funny. Man, I really don't know, and this is bothering me. Okay, I'll just move on. There was a name for it. I completely forgot it, and it's probably gonna come to me after the podcast ends too. I'm gonna be really upset.
It's not. You're sure it's not hanky panky practitioner though?
No, it's not. We'll just go with that as a fill-in word for the time being.
Okay, I'm gonna use
People
it
can
a
still
lot.
have pride doing, being in a sex business. I mean, I understand you talking about, like, you shouldn't trust what he's saying, but
He's trying to break him down and make him feel worthless, and abuse him into being one of his cronies. And I'm saying that I'm not convinced. I'm not ruling it out at all, but I'm not convinced that we're getting the most truthful story possible.
I mean, I'm going kind of by what Yayako saying. I'm forgetting what they're saying. I mean, according to Yayako, his father literally went into the Shogitai, and that's where he died. Now I get that he's trying to, use, like, he's trying to, like, he's using manipulating words to get him to break his spirit of being a samurai. I get that, but I'm just kind of going by what Yaku's saying about his parents. Now his as far as his father did, it sounds like what that guy was saying was right. He just went into the military and died there. But his mother, on the other hand, now that's kind of where he doesn't say much about his mother, and I don't think she's really all that important. His character,
Okay.
at least I don't think she is. I mean, maybe will come up later. Again, because we don't really know much about him.
A little origin story, like that they were just giving the origin story of this character and why he was so rough around the edges and stuff like that.
This is also interesting too that we keep on hearing that Yahiko, has the potential to be a samurai, and Kenshin, and then other people as well. At least mostly from Kenshin, but yeah.
I enjoyed the emphasizing Kenshin's experienced eye and what makes somebody samurai with a lot of potential. Do you know what I mean? That he turned away like everybody but this guy. Even her former students, he turned away. He turned away those 15 plus people that all gathered around the door. and then he saw this guy, and he met this guy in very questionable circumstances. You know, he was trying to rob from him, and he's like, "Yeah, that's the one." You know what I mean? That's the one that's going to make it work for you. You are now his like student. You know what I mean? And I thought that that was worth noticing. That um, Kenshin's the type of person that sees potential like that in somebody. I don't know. I found that interesting.
Okay, speaking of Kenshin, as Yaku's about to be cut in half by the gangster with a sword, Kenshin just comes on like a wrecking ball in the walls, and then
Faded
lays.
like a wrecking ball. Sorry.
He comes in and then like lays flat,
Pity,
like lays
pity.
like the wall on flat on top of him, and he just knocks him out. And after this is happening, Kenshin's got this look in his eye. He's scaring the leader. But before he says that, he's like, I was looking for a door in here, and like I just kind of like put your guys to sleep in the other rooms. I said like, wait, the other rooms? Wait, how many people did he put? And he also says that he apparently went to other, locations and beat up those people there. And he came here and he doesn't look like he's all that tired. Uh, his his skill is actually ridiculous. Granted, he's not really dealing with anybody really all that dangerous yet, but it's crazy that he's able to come into the building, wipe everybody out of all the minions, and then just makes this point of like, let me have the kid, because you don't want the embarrassment of being beat by one man like the other guys did. And
Yeah.
instead of the leader being like, you know what, I'm gonna get up and try to beat you and get laid out flat, he's like, you can have the kid. There's no point in trying to
And
fight a
then he tells
man.
the rest of them, like, this is actually a pretty good deal for us. Like, we shouldn't push it.
Yeah, speaking of his eye, and like, it's interesting how you say you seen the look in his eye. That's the look of a manslayer.
Yeah,
The
not
amount of
just a Yuka manslayer, a real one. And he was an older guy, so he would be old enough to remember the days of like the samurai in their prime.
And I
So
think he'd be
it's
old enough to know about the Batosai incident too, a long time ago.
mhm.
Not that he would assume that he's the guy that did it, just that he knows what it was like for people to get killed mercilessly back then.
Right.
And then pretty much Kenshin like you pretty much pick some Yahiko up. I just want to point out one specific thing here before we move on. He keeps calling Yahiko Kiddo for a long while here. And then later on, that changes at the end of the episode, and he actually refers to Yahiko by his name. Not that Yahiko even brings this up, but I found it was interesting that, again, his the way he speaks, or what words he chooses to use as he's speaking, is actually kind of interesting.
Well, does he do it after Yahiko gains his respect a little bit? Because that would make sense, right?
I think he already had his respect, um, but
I think he had his regard, but I think he wasn't what Kenshin would have considered a respectable character yet.
I guess I mean it happened after like him defending Kairo's like dojo and whatnot, and him sticking around.
Yeah. But there was a moment where he bends down when the guy he saves the kid, and the kid says like, like, you didn't have to save me, I would have taken care of myself. And he's showing all that pride, you know what I mean, and strength of character. And he's not acting like a normal kid might act, where they might be paralyzed with fear or crying or something. He's like, I want to keep fighting, like, who asked you to save me, and stuff like that. And I think Kenshin looks down at him and says, you got some, for lack of a better way of putting it, like, you got some balls, kid. Like, I underestimated you again. Because he says again, do you know what I mean? He says, I underestimated you again. Now, he's a very flattering character, you know what I mean? So saying that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what he really, really meant. He could just be saying the kind thing, you know what I mean? Like he did to the other guys, where he was like putting a little honey in his talk when he was like, well, you don't want everybody to.
I mean, you say that, but Kenshin already has mentioned that he wishes that Yahiko had been born before the prohibition. It
Yeah,
sounds like Kenshin really wanted to have a chance to fight him.
think so. That's not what I expected you to say.
But no, I mean, like, it's twofold. I'm taking what he said there in the last episode about him saying that he kind of wishes that he was like he could have been a samurai so he could cross blades. Most samurai say that anyway, at least in anime, anyways. Like, I wish I could have crossed swords with you, especially if it was a respectable person. Kind of like how Goku says, like, in a lot of his like fights, and I mean, a lot of his villains turn into be good guys, except for a few of them. Where he's like, I wish I could fight you again, but this time just as a sparring match. People poke fun at Goku in terms of wanting to fight people. He's they're trying to destroy the world again. But I mean, it's probably the biggest respect he can give any character in that show is that I want to fight you again, but as a friendly thing, not something trying to save the world again. I'm just taking that here as like it's twofold. He's saying I wish he could have like I met you back then and I could have crossed swords with you to have a friendly, match, or maybe he thinks that Yaku could have had the ability to change something. It's like maybe like Kenshin's been around long enough to seen some things.
Yeah, I'll buy into that a little bit. But I did think that maybe his opinion. I think everybody seemed to respect each other a little bit more at the end of that episode, because I think that Yahiko's opinion of Karoe, like Karou, went up a little bit when he saw how she handled the situation with her students, and I think Kenshin's opinion of Yahiko went up a little bit when he saw how courageous he was when he was rescued. And I think Yahiko, his opinion of Karu was already pretty high, and it probably went up a little bit, but not profoundly. But his opinion of Karu went from, this ugly hag to you're an ugly hag to I will be your student, And
I mean, he says her name eventually. I guess also like him 10 years old and like calling her ugly hag kind of probably makes sense. He's not at the point where he likes girls yet. I was just kind of wondering why they have him call her a hag.
I think they're just playing up that he's still a tough street kid.
I think it's just mostly he just doesn't he doesn't see the importance, because at that age you're not going to see the importance. These boys aren't going to see girls as anything more than like a as a hindrance. And plus later on he keeps on talking about how he might not learn swordsmanship from a girl. He kind of like insinuates that he rather learn it from Kenshin, the guy who he got respect for right now, versus learning from her. Which again, that changes after he sees that she's capable. She's just as capable as any guy.
Yeah, for sure.
But after Kenshin saves him, he brings him. Jesus, I keep mixing up pronouns. He brings Yahiko to Kairo's dojo at night, and Brent says, like, here, you can learn swordsmanship here. And they're both freaking out because she didn't agree to this, and neither did he. And then the ugly hag stuff happens again.
And then even at the end, he doesn't like call her sensei or anything. She's like, now you're not going to even use my title. So I thought it was interesting when Kenshin busted in, along with like saying that he like visited he would have already been in the other rooms, that he said, quote unquote, he visited each and every other group first, which meant he'd had a busy night in my interpretation of being at like
other rooms. I thought he meant other groups of other organizations everywhere else in the city. Okay, that makes more sense.
I interpreted it that way too, and that's what I'm talking about. That like quote unquote visited. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't like a social call at that point. I'm sure that.
Well, I mean, it was a social call, just a social call of my sword.
Right, aggressive negotiations, as they say in Star Wars. But yeah, the visits I'm sure were like a little more serious than he makes.
Like knock knock. I don't want the Girl Scout cookies. Blast the door down. You'll take these cookies. Oh snap!
Everybody. Hope you're having a good day.
Aggressive in negotiation. Jeez. Okay. After all that, the day passes, and then Yaku's being a kid, not wanting to learn swordsmanship from Cairo. Apparently, there's a flashback of of Kenshin after dealing with the police and a lot of people. It took me a lot to replace that scene until they brought up that this happened after him dealing with the police swordsman, and apparently there are people there looking to become his apprentice, and Kenshin I made it a point to say he's not looking to teach anybody, and also mentions that he to bring this to the present day, when Yaku's asking to learn how to be a samurai from him, he's saying he's not looking to teach his sword style to anybody else.
And I think that's because he doesn't want other people to use it for the. It's he doesn't want to hand that power on to anybody for them to abuse. Is how I pictured it.
I mean, yeah, but even with that, even all of that, is like it's still kind of interesting that he still views Yaiko as a potential good samurai, but he's not willing to teach him that, even if he believed that he wasn't going to do it he wasn't going to use the power for any evil.
Mhm.
Which, by the
And
way,
for what it's worth, that goes back to my narrative about the a lot of the story being about the samurai fading too.
I mean, yeah,
About
I'm
this.
pretty sure he wants that source out to die with him. If being all honest.
But I mean, it's part of the historical framework, I think, of the story to have the lead character want be tied into the history of this, and you know what I mean. It's not a legacy that got passed on, just like all of the samurai legacy was not really passed on.
No, I get that. It was interesting that he said that too, and we was like, okay. Well, I mean, we know that's not gonna happen, or will it? Dang
Dun
it.
dun dun.
But after that, Yahiko ends up, like, I guess we could just fast forward to this a little bit. As he's like, we see Koru like looking around her dojo after a little bit, because apparently Yahiko just disappears on her, which is interesting that he's that quick that he can like disappear. According to me, he's not as tall as a normal like full-grown adult, so that's probably also adding to his speed a little bit.
He's a street rat, though. I mean, he's going to be able to like sort of pop in and out, right?
I guess, but he can't really. Maybe he could use that in the samurai. I don't know.
I mean, all he had to do was climb the roof. She's like, "I leave him alone for 1 second."
I probably think she knew where he was, and she just did that on purpose.
I didn't get that vibe.
She kind of gave to me. She kind of gave off that vibe because she sat there like right in front of him and specifically antagonized him. She didn't really have to say all that if she didn't know he was around. She already didn't know that was gonna like, aggravate him. Because she did flat out just insult him.
Yeah, but she doesn't seem. She seems so direct in every other case. Like I've never seen her.
I mean, she was direct to him there. I mean, even if we go with the idea that he didn't know he was there, she was still kind of really direct with her statement.
I've just never seen her be clever in that way,
I mean, she was clever in the fight with the Eaton, whatever you call those people, like the sword club.
I would say she was certainly well trained, but clever. That's not the type of clever I mean. I mean, she was strong, but like not like someone that does something from a diagonal standpoint. Like she always seems to go head first through things, say exactly what she means, and you know what I mean. Have very clear actions behind the words.
But no, I'm actually watching something really quick. I still find it really. She did. I mean, if she didn't know he was there, why stand exactly there where he was, just below him, and say those words?
Because of comedic writing.
I guess, but at the same time, I just think
If the explanation isn't always in universe, you know.
That was mostly an insult, though. She was asking Kenshin what did he see in her, see in him, and that's when he hit her with the with the sandal.
Yeah. But I mean, there's all sorts of things in this episode that are built around the comedic value of their like relationship. So it doesn't blow me away that here's, you know, another thing that is kind of like building up the comedic value of their relationship.
I still think the relationship is pretty good here. Anyway, I mean, it's kind of like older sister, younger brother situation that I see with these two anyway.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that at all.
He pretty much like insults her. Well, not insults. He kind of just like picks at her about her dojo, and she clearly took that to heart. Did he say exactly? Why don't you? Oh yeah, why didn't your students return? And then she her expression changes, and he feels bad about even saying that. He doesn't get sick of you acting as the acting master. I think it's interesting to the reveal that probably this dojo does not have a master anymore. I thought she was the master, but apparently she's only acting.
I was wondering if there was like if that was a reference to the fact that her father was the master and he passed away, and that because she was a woman, like she couldn't truly be the master. But I didn't.
I don't think it has anything to really do with her being a woman. I'm gonna take it as like it's possible that because I mean her father was the master of the dojo. It's possible that her father did not want her being the master, probably wanting. I mean, still kind of dealing with the idea of her being a woman, you know, wanting her to have a family, you know, and get married to a guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you wouldn't want your daughter doing that, you know, because it'd take away from her being able to be happy.
My question was more like, is it a societal thing? That society,
I mean,
not allow a woman to at this time to be the master of a dojo?
Possibly. Like, I mean, again, I said this earlier. Like, I mean, during this time period, I suspect women weren't allowed to do a lot of anything, like a lot of like what we considered a guy's job, anyway. For the most part, a lot of the jobs they held were just sedentary.
You could take it as far as like owning property was not allowed by women through a lot of history. You know, like owning land, you know what I mean, was something that was considered a woman's role. So I thought it wasn't impossible here that she was being pigeonholed into like kind of a sexist role or something like that, where she could be there, you know what I mean, and society would tolerate that, but she couldn't be a karate master or a martial arts master, I should say.
That's a possibility. Coming from that, after their little like sibling fight that they have there, we see two, at the time we didn't notice, but as they're see two people running away from a gang that's chasing them down, with two people of a gang chasing these two individuals down. They end up running into the dojo where Kaioru is, and they find out that they used to be students there up until the manslayer incident early on, which was episode 1. So apparently these people were students relatively recently and then left. And then they tell us Kairu's learning what happened. One of the guys, the green kimono, is holding his shoulder like he got hurt really badly. She's wondering what happened.
Yeah, it's kind of odd because you see nothing on his shoulder.
Probably dislocated his shoulder. Doesn't really move it.
She keeps, like, at the end, like, the last thing she says to him is, like, please see a doctor about your shoulder. Like, she's really worried about it. And I get that that's also telling of her strong character, but it stuck with me a little bit. I was like, why did she make such a point out of that, you know?
I mean, it's possible she didn't want them to start practicing, you know, what they were taught. I mean, just because, you know, somebody says that I don't want you picking up a sword anymore doesn't mean that they will obey what they said. And on top of that, I mean, just because like he's holding his shoulder, there's nothing really there, doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes the most dangerous injuries are internal.
Yeah. I'm usually not internal injury to your shoulder, but yeah.
I mean, who knows what happened to the crowd? I mean, they were drunk and talking smack, and then trying to, I guess, do drunken sword style, which is what happened there.
Yeah.
We must find out that, thanks to Yahiko's perception, his ability to perceive what's really going on, which is crazy that he was able to like, I guess granted not really, because as the audience you could tell that something really wasn't going on with the way they were looking. They weren't telling the full truth. And apparently Yahiko said he could smell it. They were definitely drunk at some point before they got here, which is kind of interesting that Kairo didn't smell that. But I guess she was more concerned with their safety than anything else. Again, it shows that Yahiko's got good senses. They're probably like, I mean, they probably could use some honing, but he got some good senses that he can pick up on a lot of things immediately as soon as he sees somebody.
Yeah, I saw that as demonstrative of his potential. I interpreted that as the show pointing out how much potential this kid had. I thought it was cool.
And then after Yahiko outs them, the gang members show up at their door, and Kairo dispatches them, showing that she at least she's got she definitely has been training what she's been teaching, which is a nice thing to see. She's worried about them, and then apparently the rest of the gang shows up at their door, and she pretty much closes the doors on all of them, saying to protect them inside the dojo. And as this is happening, they pull out a wooden cannon. I don't know if that's historically correct. Maybe Chalk can enlighten me here.
I took it at face value as being correct because the anime did one of those like, we're gonna explain what's happening here kind of moments, and like kind of like cut out and like explained how it was and how its use was. So I didn't bother looking it up because I interpreted that as like going without saying that it was correct.
Okay, I mean, I let you looked it up, but okay, if you didn't and you took it as face value, I'll take it as face value. I mean, it didn't seem remarkably unbelievable, but it was one of those really weird, like, is that really how canon started? I guess they
It was
kind of would.
consistent with the premise of the show that like they were guns, you know what I mean, were seen as like a very common cause of the end of samurai. So it made sense to me that cannons would also be seen as a common, cause of the end of the samurai. So I kind of just went with it, and I was like, yeah, that seems to track, with what's going on in this story.
The name of the gang is the Hishi Manji Gurin Gang. That's the name I completed.
I'm very proud of you for saying that.
It's funny that they made an entire gang up, but I guess that, I mean, gangs didn't really, I mean, there's probably no real historical like book anywhere unless the gang was like involved in anything historical. Probably wouldn't be anywhere, and even if it did exist in the real world.
Mm-hmm. I think it's okay to just say turned out it was a gang,
I mean, I'm just saying it was the gang that actually had an interesting name and a very interesting leader. But yeah, apparently as this is all happening, Kairo lets a slip that apparently Kenshin's off doing more grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's gonna be a common gag with him, is that that's the reason why he's gonna be gone for the most part, is that he's doing chores for her. But yeah, I brings some interesting thing that I'm guessing they did on purpose for like comedic impact, and also I guess giving the fans a voice in the show. Like, did you really need all that at once? I guess it's an interesting idea. It's like, that is interesting to say, because like, didn't they go shopping for the exact stuff like not even a day ago at this point? So the fact that like they need more of it is crazy. But I'm guessing that was mostly for comedic impact, but also maybe giving, having the creators saying that we know what you're thinking, viewers of this episode. We're just gonna write it in here just to say we already know what you're thinking. I wasn't thinking that, but it was interesting to hear him say that out loud.
I didn't think it was that much stuff, so when I heard it,
Well, it depends. I
Uh,
mean, I don't think she didn't give
it
like
was just four things:
numbers. She didn't give
salt
numbers. She
and
just said that this is what she wanted. She didn't give
it was
numbers.
salt, soy sauce, rice, and something else. And I was like, I don't know. That seems like
Yeah,
not
but
that
I
big of a
mean, the thing is, like, she sends Kenshin out for that stuff, and he says it's heavy. So like, it must be a lot of it. I don't know. Also, I mean, it's possible that Kenshin eats a lot, like a typical shonen male character in any show. I don't think he eats a lot though, based on his attitude.
seems to have very simple, humble needs. So I don't know.
I mean, it just seems kind of really random that way. I mean, yeah, you could be right. They probably, but still, but the thing is, like, why not just order enough for a week, like you normally do in the real world, and then go back the next week? Don't go back every freaking day. But I guess they also didn't have the convenience of like, you know, saving food because they didn't have the ability to freeze things and keep things on cold overnight. So possibly they need to go every day because of that. Um,
I just thought it was a good. The writers probably saw a good excuse to get him out of the room for a little while, so the other characters could shine a little. I'm
but
sorry.
hmm?
I'm sorry. I keep pointing at the writers, but like, it's very convenient writing to just say it was probably just the writing. This
But after
because
the
when he's there, like he's so beyond everything. Like they shoot a cannon at him, and he cuts it in half. You know, like he's so beyond all of the opponents that appear, except for possibly in the after credits scene.
oh,
That
those are after credits. So you need to take a look at that. I was wondering if there was one. I usually stop at the credits.
yeah, jump up to 2210. They tease like
Wait, is that the guy in the thumbnail of the next episode?
yeah, they tease him like he finishes beating
I don't need to worry, but I already know who that guy is. I don't remember a lot of what I remember really liking him when I was reading the story. So that I didn't know they hired him though. So that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting little bit of story that I did not know. Actually, now you say that, that kind of makes something. I'm thinking about making more sense. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I already knew about him. I did not know that they teased him. I saw him down here in the thumbnail of this episode. I was like, oh, okay, so he's gonna show up now. But the ending credits makes his appearance more sense. It makes his appearance more sense actually. Thank you for the
Yeah,
information. I did not know that was there.
no problem.
But
Being
did,
thorough is what I'm here for.
so you
Right,
tell
keep
your
me
wife.
on. Whoa.
I'm sorry. But they get they crowded into the dojo. She tells that Yahiko has his little moment, and then Cannonball comes flying through the wall, and they're like, haha, come on out and face justice. And pretty much Yahiko's like, go out there, get like, they're, you can take them, they're not our problem. And the gang is like, of course they're not just gonna take the guys that they're after, they're gonna take you too. um
Because we're so evil.
Got a point. uh um
It was
the,
very mustache twirling moment.
But then Kaoru defends him, saying like, you don't like let these three go, and you can do whatever you want with me. And in typical anime fashion, with the women, as I brought up before in this era, they take that as an invitation to, based on the way he was licking his lips, I suspect there's gonna be rape.
I thought he was gonna have her cook for them.
Possible that first
They
and
knew
then
that the
rape.
main character's coming. They know the main character's coming back with food.
I don't think they heard her say that.
I love that you're taking me seriously.
I have to at this point. But all joking and serious, let's take it aside. Essentially she does that. He licks his lips, and then Kenshin, as usual, shows up out of nowhere, puts down the food that he had probably bought, saying that, there's a lot going on here. That it is.
Mm-hmm. And of course, this is like all 100% within his control. Like he doesn't have to worry.
Yeah, I mean,
about
yeah,
it.
he said you should get out of here before you get embarrassed, and they just like, like his minions, the guy, who is his name? Do you have his name written down here? Leader of that gang.
The leader of the gang was Mr. Hasikuma, and I actually found his first name somewhere too, but I can't find it now.
Okay, Mr. Hachisuka. Yeah, okay, Hachisuka's gang. His members tell him that like this is the guy that took care of all those swords wielding police. And he's like, why are you afraid of one man? We got a cannon. Shoots the cannon at him, as Jock pretty much poetically said. The guy splits the cannonball in half. Well, actually, we be more specific. They shoot the cannonball, and then the time slows, and we just see Kenshin stand there for a few seconds, and then he pulls out the sword, and the thing splits, and then it goes different directions and explode to the ground. A lot more epic that way.
It was pretty fun.
Huh?
It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I like that animation. I'm pretty sure they had a lot of fun doing that.
At first, I was like, "Wait a minute, is he using some power to do this, or is that just?"
No, that's just the other side of his sword.
Well, no, but I meant like to slow the cannonball down. I was.
Oh no, I don't think that. Like, I think that was just poetic license.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But there was like a moment where I was like, I wonder if there's.
I mean, this show, when I understand, when I remember, it gets to the point where he almost like, I mean, as you would know of any show, they build up to the really world-ending fights with powers and stuff like that. I feel like they do it in this show too, but it doesn't get like. I think they do it in a very believable sense. Like you could believe this could have happened if the right circumstances were at play.
Yeah.
But it's not like a beam shoots out of his mouth or something like that.
Right.
But
I know. It's just like for a second I was wondering that, and I was like, no, they're just doing a Matrix scene.
And that's just him. He can just react at the speed of sound, the speed of light. That's what I suspected anyway, because I mean, it fired at him and then it slowed down. It almost stood in place.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly could see it, you know, just in time to slice it. Then he just points his sword, which, by the way, I like how he's holding it, like, you know, like he pulled it out and it just like he just swung it up, and he just points at them and saying that you better leave. This sword is only, you know, sword will only, you know, slice anything but human lives. Which also that sentence says that he's killed people before, and you shouldn't mess with me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, he's a very good-natured guy. He doesn't want to get in a fight. You can clearly see that when he does. I mean, he's forced into a fight. He tries to end it really quickly. He does not want to be in a fight for too long.
I feel like he is constantly trying to give people second chances to not fight him, and they constantly think that they're the ones in control, and just kind of like.
Well, I mean, when you look at him, you think you could win. Just not even looking at his eyes. It's just his entire like figure. You don't think that. It's typical in any situation. Somebody like him, you would not think.
You're wondering why he bothered. You know what I mean?
You wonder why Kenshin even bothers?
Why he bothered to like why he bothers to give them a chance. I mean, I get why he bothers.
Good-natured guy.
He's like, you know, chill the hell out. You will. And they're like, no, I'm not going to chill the hell out.
I know he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't like fighting. Though he's done a lot of it before now. So it's one of those like. There's a story here, and they're trying to like get you intrigued.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's one of those things like, yeah, I mean, like, why does he bother? Why not he just ends it there? He's capable of doing it. But I mean, hey. But after all that, the gang leaves, you know, with their tail between their legs. At this point, I thought they were gone. I was just now informed by a jock here that they actually hired somebody in the post-credit sequence, who's the new character they're introducing in the next episode. But backwards in time, after all that happened and they leave, Toru is, you know, kind of upset that her dojo is kind of in a wreck, and then, you know, Yaiko's like there's no need for you, like he's like, don't cry, you know, or don't, like, it's something like, you know, don't worry about it. And I guess in his own really weird stoic way, you know, like, you got one student, that's me. I'm gonna become stronger, and you know, I'm gonna be your student. And as after all that, he pretty much helps. He's like saying, "We're gonna clean up this dojo so I can get stronger." Puts the bamboo sword that they try to offer him early on his back, ties it all around him like I guess you would tie an actual sword around your back.
Uh-huh.
But
And he's like, so he kind of like, she's earned his loyalty.
she probably already earned it moments ago.
Yeah, when he kicked the guy in the face, that was probably him throwing his fate in with her.
He pretty much bows at the door, at the opening door thingamajigger, and he walks right in and starts picking up and helping her tidy up the dojo. Kenshin doing nothing because apparently he's just supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
But funny, it's like I'm just supervising. That's all I'm doing.
I like to think that they all got together and helped to help.
I think he did help. At least I would hope. I mean, he's really just been the man in the middle.
The arrangement so he can live there.
Hmm?
Isn't the arrangement so he can live there that he's essentially her servant anyway? So I feel like she probably did end up helping.
I don't think that was an original arrangement. I just think because now that he's staying there for a little bit, she needs help, and
I mean, she's sending him off shopping and stuff like that. Like, they seem to have some sort of arrangement where that's how he gets to stay there rent free.
well, he's also just a Rurouni, so I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of money to his name. So, I mean, even if that wasn't the case, he probably had to stay there rent free because he couldn't pay her.
Right, but she's been sending him on errands and making him do chores for her and stuff like that as replacement. So,
And speaking of that, the whole idea that like he's killed people, it's kind of funny that this like she's got like this mass murderer in her house doing chores for her,
mm-hmm.
and she's not afraid.
Well, I wouldn't be afraid of him either. But yeah,
but the idea, like, I mean, regardless of how he looks, knowing that he's killed people, you think you'd be a little bit like, you know, afraid. And maybe that's why she sends him off, so she isn't alone with him in the house. Maybe.
It's like, I can't do this. This guy is bugging me out.
Like,
I don't want to take him off because I don't want to make him mad at me, but he's really freaking me out.
He should just walk in the house, the dojo. He's just like, he's just matter of business. He just shows up. He's like, "Hey, Carol, what's up? What you doing here?" I just saying hi.
Warn me first. Holy crap!
No, seriously. I would just say it's kind of funny that she's got this manslayer as a manservant, as you said. It's just
Yeah.
that is kind of funny that, you know, he's killed people, but he can still dust the windows. It's like he can go grocery shopping for you. He's killed people, but he's capable of going grocery shopping.
What do you do when you're not killing people? Oh, you know, I like to go out grocery shopping, check out the mall.
I mean, I guess I'm just trying to make fun of the situation. It's just like, you know, that's who he is. I mean, he can end fights and also like sweep out underneath the tatamani mat. I don't know what I said there, but it was a mat of some sort. But with that, after the credits roll, we see that apparently they hired somebody who clearly thinks he's capable of taking on this guy. He doesn't know what he's up for. That I can say for for sure he does not know what he's up for.
But he seems like he's gonna love trying to get in a fight with him when he figures it out. And with all the noise that's been made in the town about this guy, I feel like it's not going to be very long until he figures out who he is.
Oh, I guess before we end here, we could talk about that whole thing. After he just defeated the police, apparently this man's the idea of one guy who took out the police was just running around the news of this happening was running around the entire city. Granted, the city isn't all that big, so I'm guessing it's not too unusual for that to happen where everybody knows about the news about this guy. I just kind of find it funny that he strolled in the first episode not really wanting to bring attention to himself, and now he's staying in the dojo, and now everybody knows who he is or what he looks like.
Like absolutely everybody.
It's just kind of funny, like, he seems to me he kind of strolled in trying to do his own business and had a goal in mind, and then now he's like 2 to 3 days later, now he's like living with a girl, and now everybody else knows that he's there, and only some people know what he actually did in his past life.
And people are like crowding around the entrance of the dojo, and,
He's a mascot.
he is. He's like, oh, this is not good. And he sees them all crowding around. And he comes out and he's like, if you're here, so I'll teach you. Like, this is not my style, and I'm not, I'm not affiliated with this. I'll leave.
Yeah, he just seemed like the type of guy that honestly was not ready for whatever he signed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, he still kills people though. I'm gonna keep bringing that up because, his looks do not like. At least when he's not being serious, does not look like a killer. When he's being serious, he scares the pants off a grown man.
Yeah, grown men live in terror of him at some point.
But I guess with that we can end here. Not much to talk about here, other than the little bit that we did talk about. I definitely did enjoy Yahiko. I'm really excited to see what's in store for him in the future. Also with Kyra.
It was a lot of payoff episode. They've set up a lot of this stuff for a while, and this was kind of like a payoff for it all.
This is like a necessary episode, is what I called it. It was like we needed to know his character a little bit better. We needed him to interact with other characters really quick. So this is like one of those necessary episodes. It needed to happen.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we're going to get another character to this, bundle based on the intro and based on who we have up next. So I guess we'll have another episode or two with him involved later on. But right now he's going to be interested in the fold as some guy who's going to fight Kenshin.
My prediction is that this episode is kind of the last episode of this type, and that there's going to be a turning point after this in the series, and they're just kind of like getting one more of the feel good out, like one more episode out while the series is still feel good, and then things are going to start getting more serious from here.
Well, it's a show about samurai and a manslayer. What are you expecting? They're gonna add just another character to the trail. Well, but
it's been a pretty lighthearted, other than the child beating. Like this is pretty
this show was lighthearted, but other than child beating, it was lighthearted. It was good. It was family friendly, except for the murder of the murder of this child's kids and the beating that he took. This was just, he bit some guy's dick, but it's child friendly.
It was comical the way he bit his dick. Yeah, we knew that he was going to get killed in retribution for it, but it was really funny in the second, No, I get it. It's like, I don't know. I get that, but it's all been like the problems have like all been solvable in one episode, and as soon as Kenshin gets there,
I get you want more. You want a longer. You want you want a setup, and then you want that setup to take some time, and then we get to whatever the first main villain is going to be, and then we'll be with that for a little bit. You want that story to finally start,
right?
But based on the intro, we still got one more character, and we're gonna get his character, but I don't know how long they're gonna take to introduce him, considering they took this time to bring Yahiko into the fold. So I suspect that there will be an episode beyond the next one we're watching where whatever happens and he gets involved, the dojo, whatever happens there, if he is involved with the dojo in terms of staying there, who heck knows. We'll get his story, and then we'll move on from there to whatever is coming up following that. And I suspect after that point, the show will get more anime. So I'm not sure for how much longer there'll be historical relevance. I don't remember. I think they still have characters that are kind of like based off of real characters, like most of the show is. Well, some of the show is, like with some of the characters. They base some characters off of some real life people. Um, so like I suspect there'll be characters that be based off of real life people, but then they'll have their spin on within this show's world. Because why not? But guess with that, we can end this podcast episode off here. Really enjoying the show so far. Cannot wait for episode 4.
Yeah, it's good stuff. See you, everybody.
What the heck? Last minute special, $20. When was that put up there?
It's like 2 minutes ago.
No, $10. This man is trying to. You know what, guys? Good night.